Okay, this is a tutorial for C7272. I'm Brownox, and I am going to show you how to use your template in Photoshop. I see here that you say you use GIMP. I'm sorry, but I have Photoshop. I hope that'll be helpful. I got to move fast because YouTube will only take 15-minute videos. Alright, once you have your template downloaded, you also need to get 3 more files off the internet. You need to Google these 3 fonts. They're Magic the Gathering, M-Plantin, and M-Plantin Italic. If you just take them and add font to the end of it, you should be able to find free versions of it. I was able to. Certain sites sold them for $30 a piece, but don't fall for that. Just check out several of the different options under each Google search, and you'll eventually come across one that has the download for free. Alright, once you have those, you need to put them onto your computer, and you need to install them. On Windows Vista and 7, you just right click the TTF files and say install, and then they will install. Or if you're in XP, you need to go into control panels, go into fonts, and then under the file menu you'll be able to see that there is a an option for installing the font. Alright, I'm just going to open up the template in Photoshop, and you provided me with this image here, the Llanowar Elves. It's pretty bad, very pixelated, really washed out. I looked around and found this other picture. It's a lot more saturated, a lot more crisp. They're a little different. This one has a T symbol, this one for tap, and this one uses the word tap. This one has a mana symbol. This one spells out the words mana. This one just looks a little better. We're going to have to take this artwork from here. That's the one thing we're going to have to take from the online card. Unfortunately, I mean, the template can't have all the art for all of the cards, otherwise it would be unwieldy. But what we're going to do is we're going to work with this template, and we're going to start with the text. If you look over here in Photoshop, you have your layers palette, and you need to go into the text. The text is a folder that you open by clicking the little triangle on it. All of these little blue lines are called guidelines. They can be removed by going into your view menu, going down to clear guides, but I'm going to leave them up because they'll be helpful for snapping the text where I want it. In the text folder, if I want to highlight, if I want to alter text, I want to go into and double click on these T thumbnails. When I do that, you'll see that for example, this is the title. The card title text is all highlighted, and that provides me with the opportunity to alter the text. And you just want to go through and do that for all of these. Make sure, don't click on the word or the layer. Click on the thumbnail in order to highlight the appropriate thing. Normal rules text. And all these words are in the fonts that I had you download. You want to go down to You're going to want to go down to the flavor text, and you want to alter that. Okay, and there's the flavor text. We want to go down to the Illustrator text, double click it. In this instance, we just want to highlight the exarent, change it to Anson Madec, and finally the card type, and that is Summon Elves. Alright, that's all the text. The only problem is the normal rules text and the flavor text are misplaced. We need to go into the move tool up here. Make sure the show transform controls checkbox is checked, and highlight the normal rules text. You can see this little rectangle that comes around with all these little clear squares on them. Those are handles that allow you to transform the text. We don't want to make it bigger or anything like that. We just want to move its location. So we just click in the center of the body of it, where when I have this arrow and this multi-directional arrow beside it, it allows me just to move it to where it looks like it is in the example I have on the right. That looks good. Then I go to flavor text and I move it the same way. Put it where it looks like it goes. Alright, that's the text. We need to move on quickly. The mana won't be used. The way that we make something invisible is to click on the eye that occurs next to the layer. Turn that off and the mana disappears. We don't need it. We need to go into frames. Currently the land frame is activated. We're going to turn that off. We don't need it. We don't need this hybrid. This is actually something called a layer mask. We won't get into that in this tutorial. We want to turn on the green frame. And that's about right. It looks a little bit washed out, a little bit more of a pine green. Has the tree mana icon up in the top right corner. Okay, so that's going to do just nicely. Finally, we want to get this artwork changed. Go into the artwork folder, and what we're going to do is in Windows 7 or Windows Vista, we're going to use the snipping tool that is underneath your accessories. If you're using XP, you're going to have to use some other type of capture tool. I'm not sure which programs they have for that. With the snipping tool, you want to make sure in the options that you show selection ink after snips are captured. That's unchecked. Otherwise, you're going to have a ring around it of whatever color ink you have highlighted. So turn that off. Oops, I just closed the snipping tool. That was genius. There it is. Okay. And we want to take a rectangular snip. It grays out the screen. Start in the top left corner of the art and move to the bottom right. I don't think it matters what direction you go. And there I go. I've got it captured. I'm going to save it as elves to my desktop. Okay, and now we want to close that out and open it in Photoshop. We go to File, Open. I'm on my desktop. Go to Elves and open it up. Now we have two files open. There's two tabs at the top here. Here's the Elves tab and here's the template. Elves tab, template. And just click on them to go between them. We want to see both files open at the same time. So take the Elves tab, click and hold, and drag it down a little bit until it dislodges from the top ribbon. And now you can see both of them. You can tell that the Elves is active right now because that layer is blue and highlighted. You can see a thumbnail of the elf. We want to take this lock symbol and drag it down to the garbage can, get rid of it. Don't take the whole layer, just the lock symbol. That allows us to move the layer into the other file. So click on the layer, drag it over to the template and let go. We can see it here partially obscured by the frame. We want to close out that file now. Don't save the changes, we don't need it anymore. Now we have this layer highlighted. Once again, we're still in the move tool. And we want to click in it and we want to bring it up to the center of the frame. And then we want to enlarge this, and the best way to enlarge this is we want to keep it centered while we enlarge it, and we also want to keep the proportions. You hold down the Alt key to keep it centered, and you hold down the Shift key to keep the proportions of it correct. And then you just grab a handle, one of these clear squares in the corner, so that your icon turns into a double direction arrow, and just drag it until it's the correct size. That's about right. Okay, I think that's pretty much the card right there, showing you how you use different elements of your template. I'm going to just turn off my, in the view menu, turn off the guides. Wait a second. What's going on here? I'm frozen up. Oh, I have to push enter. That would help. Okay, turn off the guides. Oh, this is a little bit missized. I need to go a little bit bigger. Shift, no. Okay, that's better. I had a little ribbon of gray I could see. Alright, it's a little desaturated and the wrong color. Just as a little tweak, I'm going to change the hue saturation. Use this little finger and pick on the color that I want to change. I want to change these greens. I'll make them a little more yellow instead of so blue. Make them a little more yellow green. There we go. Change the hue. Bring up the saturation. Make it look a little bit more colorful. There, it looks a little bit more like the example we have. Alright, now, final thing to do is to save it. You go to File, Save As, and down here in the Format, you want to click this arrow and switch to JPEG. I think that's kind of a universal thing. Rename it as Elves, and save it to your desktop, or wherever you like, that is. I don't know why I told you that. Just save it where you like. And yes, I want to replace it. I'm going to keep it at maximum quality. It's only 3 megabytes big at maximum quality, so I might as well just keep it big. That's not that big. And if you want to keep an editable version of these elves, you may want to save it and do another save as file. Save this one as a Photoshop. Make sure and change the name of it though. Don't leave it as a template. Don't leave it as the same name as your template. Otherwise you'll save over your template and kind of ruin it. So we'll call this elves. And then in this instance it's going to be a Photoshop file. And so those are on my desktop now. I'm going to close this out. Close out Photoshop. It's going real slow. There we go. I guess it's pretty big. It's actually a pretty big file. Gosh. When it's in Photoshop, when it's a Photoshop file and it hasn't been flattened, you can see down here in the bottom left corner, you can see how big it is. That'd be pretty big. Alright, and here's the elves JPEG. Open it up, check it out. It looks a lot like the one we got from the internet. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and sorry it took so long, but it's having real troubles with this Cam Studio. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.